Testing, testing. Is this thing working? Awesome. All right. December 1st, 2013. Audio log number 1. My name is Daniel Richards, and I'm doing an audio log for extra credit in my myth and folklore class. So, this is day 1 of my research into the topic, the Wendigo. I chose this one personally because a friend of mine once tried telling me about it about 5 years or so ago. It has roots in the Native American tribes as well as Japan roots or Japanese roots, which I personally find fascinating. I find when there's a connection between different cultures about something, there is usually something of fact hidden within them. So that is going to be my main focus on this project, finding what truth lies behind the story of the Wendigo. Unfortunately, I do not have much to report as of yet, as it seems to be slightly difficult actually finding specifics. Although, luckily for Google, I managed to do a search and I came up with something. The Wendigo, also known as Manaha. It is a demonic half-beast creature appearing in the legends of the Algonquin peoples along the Atlantic coast and Great Lakes region of both the United States and Canada. The creature or spirit could either possess humans or be a monster that had physically transformed from a person. It is particularly associated with cannibalism. The Algonquin believed those who indulged in eating human flesh were at particular risk. The legend appears to have reinforced the practice of cannibalism as a taboo. It is not much to go on just yet, but I think it'll be easier to come up if I search for prior research papers on the subject or even try to interview someone who is more adept at old myths and legends. December 2nd, 2013. Audio log number 2. Well, where it is not a huge success story yet, I have managed to retrieve a small sampling of another piece of work detailing on the Wendigo. Although it is not directly related to the Wendigo, it is on the other hand something very similar in nature and possesses many of the traits the Wendigo does. Its original name was, let's see, I'll hope not to butcher this too badly, the Jikininki by Japanese, but its modern name is Shokujinki. They are the spirits of greedy or selfish or impious individuals who are cursed after death to seek out and eat human corpses. They mainly do this at night, scavenging for newly dead bodies and food offerings left for the dead. They sometimes also loot the corpses they eat for valuables, which they use to bribe local officials to leave them in peace. Although Shokujinki lament their condition and hate their repugnant cravings for dead human flesh. Often Shokujinki are said to look like decomposing cadavers, perhaps with a few inhuman features such as sharp claws or glowing eyes. They are a horrifying sight, and any mortal who views one finds himself or herself frozen in fear. However, several stories have given them the ability to magically disguise themselves as normal human beings and even to lead normal lives by day. Shokujinki are preta of the 26th class in Japanese Buddhism. They are also sometimes a form of rakshasa or gaki, or in other words, hungry ghosts. In the latter case, they may be freed from their deplorable existence through remembrances and offerings or through the prayers of a holy and or righteous man that has a truly holy spirit and has never dishonored himself or his family. And as kind of a forward bonus for later, my friend tells me he has a story to go along with this and intends to give me a brief rundown of it sometime tomorrow. I will be sure to note it in tomorrow's log. December 3rd, 2013, audio log number 3. It was definitely interesting, I'll give it that much. Apparently it's not all that uncommon of a folklore. I'll give you a brief rundown of the story. The legend of the Jikiniki is told in the old Japanese tale of the Buddhist priest Muso Kukushi. It is said that Muso was traveling alone through the mountains in the Mino prefecture of Japan when he lost his way. It was almost dark when he saw an old Anjitsu, the home of solitary priests, at the top of a hill, and asked the inhabitant if he could stay the night. The inhabitant was an old priest who harshly refused him lodging. However, he told him he could find food and a place to sleep in a hamlet nearby. Muso found the hamlet, where the headman welcomed him and promptly supplied him food and a place to sleep. A little before midnight, Muso was awakened by a young man who informed him that earlier that day, before he had arrived, his father had died. He had not told Muso earlier, as he would not feel embarrassed or obliged to participate in ceremonies. However, the entire village was now leaving their homes for a nearby village, as it was custom to leave the corpse alone for the night, or bad things would befall the village inhabitants. As a priest, Muso told the young man he would do his duty and perform the burial service and stay the night with the corpse. He was not afraid of the demons or evil spirits the young man spoke of. When the young man and the other villagers had left, Muso knelt by the corpse and the offerings and began the service. In the deepest part of the night, a shapeless being entered while Muso was in meditation. He could not speak or move as he watched the shape devour the corpse and offerings. The next morning, when the villagers had returned, Muso told the young man what had happened. Apparently, he wasn't all that surprised. He then asked the young man why the priest on the nearby hill did not do the ceremony. The young man told him there was no priest who lived nearby, and there hadn't been for many years. When Muso spoke of the Anjitsu, the young man also denied its existence. Muso then departed from the village with proper directions to continue his journey. Although before he left, he sought out the Anjitsu and old priest on the top of the hill to see if he had been mistaken. He found the hill and Anjitsu easily, and the old priest led him inside this time. The old priest then began to apologize for displaying his true form in front of Muso. He was the shapeless figure who had devoured the corpse in front of him. He explained that he was a Jikiniki. After living a selfish life as a priest, only caring about the food and clothes his services brought him, he was reborn as a Jikiniki, doomed to feed upon the corpses. He pleaded with Muso to perform something called a Sagaki service, so he could escape his horrible existence. All of a sudden, the old priest disappeared along with the Anjitsu. Muso found himself kneeling in the grass on the top of a hill next to a tombstone of a priest. There's definitely some interesting tidbits into it. Pretty much everything I've seen on most cultures' take on this legend is something of a curse. In most cases, the cursed individual seems to enjoy being what it is, as a point in case of the Wendigo, and then there's this Jikiniki that seems to not. It doesn't enjoy it at all. Although the Wendigo seems to be the embodiment of gluttony, greed, and excess, never truly satisfied after killing and consuming one person, as their stories always say that they're constantly searching for new victims. In some of the traditions, humans who became overpowered by greed could even be turned into a Wendigo, much like the Jikiniki. I'm beginning to see legends crossing here, but as of yet I have no way of knowing how the two are actually connected, as neither culture had actually any prior contact at that time period that both of them were made. December 4th, 2013, audio log number 4. I can't believe I didn't see this earlier, as I'm an avid reader of H.P. Lovecraft, and he has a story about an elder god by the name of Ithaqua. In layman's terms, Ithaqua is an elder god of wintry regions and another dimension referred to as Borea. Now, the interesting thing is he has a race of subhuman cannibals called the Nopke, spelled Gnopphkeh. They basically are identical to the story of the Wendigos. I'm sure Lovecraft designed them after the Wendigo, but he traced them back to their origins to get a better focus on them, I would imagine. There is a small citation here on the back of his book. He says he learned about them from his friend who is a descendant of the Athabascan people. Apparently his friend also wrote a book on the mythology of his people. I think I'll actually look into that. December 4th, 2013, audio log number 5. Earlier this afternoon, while I was scrounging around dozens of old books, I finally found the one I was looking for. As of yet, I still have no idea how all of these legends so far have collaborated, or even how they even became individuals. But for now, I have the supposed true names of the beasts, the Wechegu. The Wechegu is a creature appearing in the legends of the Athabascan people. In some legends, the Wechegu is portrayed as an ancient ice being that comes from the wilderness to prey upon humans. But in beaver mythology, it is more often said to be a person who has been possessed or overwhelmed by the power of one of the ancient spirit animals. According to some of my sources, the Wechegu does not like to be chased or hunted. Or, if the way I'm thinking is correct, it kind of seems like it almost relishes being chased. Whenever someone begins hunting it, it always prepares and seems to almost dogfight with its hunter. Neither one truly being prey or hunter. Remind me not to chase this thing, as it seems to have a multitude of followers and delights in slow kills, ending almost always in painful evisceration. Yeah, memo to self.